The new Alicization War of Underworld opening, Dual Blade Kirito returns. So what's up guys, Foxen here. Another new SAO season comes another awesome opening, animation plus music. You won't be surprised how much jam-packed of hidden stuff there is here. Thankfully, I am going to keep this non-spoiler, with a small spoiler section near the end. So go ahead and go God mode on the like, ring the bell for more SAO, and let's fully awaken. But first, a thank you to Bookwalker for sponsoring this SAO opening breakdown. Definitely check them out for all your SAO and light novel and manga needs. I highly suggest SAO Progressive. Kicking this off, Kirito in the school. Alone. What a loner. Naturally, this is hinting at something in Kirito's past. Not to mention being alone fits the whole solar persona. Notice this whole thing had this vintage, old film filter added, which is often used in scenes when looking in the past. You do briefly see Kirito seeing a distant island. This either represents the world end altar seen later, or if you do want to get more out there, Kirito's own floating castle in the sky, if you will. So Kayaba parallel. Next up, you have Asuna in red, the red shadow. Of course, this being a stand-in for goddess Stacia, and red and white have always been Asuna's colors. Then for Leafa, green. Nice cat shape on the shirt. Green being for her Alphan character, plus the Terraria goddess account. For Shinen, blue. Naturally, you got her GGO account plus Goddess Solace. Shinen is the only one that actually passes very close to Kirito. Actually, the both parting ways. You can interpret her as still having feelings for Kirito, something that of course is out of her reach. For all three of them, they are steadily opening their eyes, aka the awakening theme. Then for the oddball, Alice, yellow. Actually, the golden eyes here definitely make me think of Kirito's incarnation mode. Honestly, I kinda laughed at this one. Alice is not reaching Kirito. This really goes back to Integrity Knight Alice really not knowing practically anything about Kirito. They were together for like half a day. Sorry Alice. And no, taking care of Potato Kirito doesn't count. That might as well have been a body pillow with Kirito's face on it. Freaking hell, Roni and Teased has spent more time with him. Anyway, for something else, notice Alice's more modern clothing. Another way of looking at Integrity Knight Alice is her being on this ongoing adventure to discover who she truly is. Previously, back in the first half of SAO Season 3, you had Integrity Knight Alice who previously decided to return this borrowed body to young Alice. But you know what happened after post-Quinella fight. Young Alice and Yujiro were no more, so that's no longer possible. Anyway, getting to Tokyo Ghoul Kirito, you got the guy being completely white, pale, or more like colorless Kirito, still with the same soulless eyes. Notably, the arm is still missing. Alright, so for this part of the opening, I honestly think it's freaking genius. You got red, green, and blue. Notice anything that connects these three colors. Perhaps due to my science background, I thought this was the case when I first saw the opening, then double checked afterwards. The colors red, green, and blue are actually primary colors of light. When you put them all together, they become white. White here being represented by the colorless Kirito. On top of this, all throughout this, you had Reona's intro line, asking about the soul. What color is your soul? Next up, the beam of light. It feels like this is coming from the seed. You first had Aincrad to the left, Alpha Online to the right, aka the Fairy Dance Arc, GGO to the left, aka Phantom Bullet. Finally, all of this is leading up to what gave birth to the Underworld. Although let me just mention, technically the Underworld is yet another pit stop. Next up, the Integrity Knights looking into the sky. You got Fanato, Bercoli, Sheta, the Crimson Knight, Renly, even Roni, Teased, and Lena Senpai. You may even spot a certain Potato Boy. Post the kickoff new SAO episode, you now know that the blue lights represent the reinforcements coming in. Thankfully, no more red knights. Hopefully. Unfortunately, briefly, you do see all the knights followed by everything just disappearing. Without sugarcoating, that is definitely not a good sign. Anyway, getting to the in real life shots. You got Bercoli and Fanato maybe on a date in real life. No surprise, the purple and blue totally makes sense for them. But then Silica nearby, notably yellow. I'm thinking, does Silica have any relation to Alice with the yellow? Probably not for this scene. For the actual location, right away when I saw this, I'm like, this location looks pretty familiar. It is specifically an area in Shinjuku. Naturally, the places and businesses in the back are changed up a bit. I do live in Tokyo Shinjuku, so I do spend a good amount of time here. Next up, Klein and the Crimson Integrity Knight on the train. Where's your mask, guys? Come on, they totally put these two together due to the red color. Notice how the guy is dressed. I could picture this guy working in a hotel, maybe a nightclub, or even better, I could totally see him in one of those vintage cafes around here. Next up, Sheta and Agio. Where are they? To be honest, I really don't have a clue. There is some similar-ish spot in Shinjuku that I know of, but in the background there's not too much to go by. I do know where in Tokyo Agio's Cafe is located, so maybe around there? Fun fact by the way, Agio's Cafe is actually a Chinese food hole-in-the-wall place. Next up, Reona, Teased, and Renly in real life. I like how they got student uniforms on. Correct skirt length by the way. In the background, you do see Liz stalking the trio. The more interesting tidbit is how you can see the Augment device UI. In other words, really hinting at how the Underworld citizens could visit real life, which would actually be very similar to Yui. You have already seen her interacting with Asuna and friends in season 3. Overall for this, you might be wondering, why are the knights in real life? One take for this would be how the Integrity Knights could live if they had been born in real life instead of the Underworld, really going back to them being human. By the way, did you notice someone's hand moving the camera among these places? Could that be Kirito or even Kayaba? Next up, the Floodlight Acceleration UI. You know about Kirito being at 1000 times acceleration during his Underworld adventure. Right here, it just keeps on rising. You can actually see it going past 1000 before Yui enters the shot. For this, Yui is glowing. Naturally, she's played such a huge part helping Mama and Papa, just getting the other players over. Next up, the White Kirito slideshow. You have all of these guys that of course are fighting for Kirito's sake plus the Underworld citizens. You got 3 Alpha Online leaders plus Agio and Klein. For Agio, the dude's got a cut on his forehead. Over to the left, the Crimson Integrity Knight and Berkoli. At this point, it's not really a spoiler since they showed it in the past trailer. I mean, even if they didn't, you already saw them coming due to Liz's speech. Next round of the slideshow, you got Sheta, Silica, Liz, and the remaining sleeping knights. You can actually see the damage detail on Liz's shield. Don't forget, even if they can't die, their personal counts are at stake. Then a much bigger focus was Goddess Shinan and Goddess Lifa. You could already see Lifa taking on the Red Knights. Come on, where's Asuna? Getting into the reflection in Kirito's eye. The platform shown right here should be the world and altar. Naturally, that's not only where Kirito, Asuna, and everyone else need to take the passed out Alice. Gabriel's also headed to that location too with the hot potato. You should notice Alice here still has that makeshift patch, plus her armor looks shattered. As for the blue roses, obviously this is an indication of Yuju. And lastly, Asuna in the real world. You could even spot the ring. Asuna and Kirito need to go on a long vacation after this mess. In all, you have 4 very important thoughts for Kirito: getting to the altar, Integrity Knight Alice, the lost Yujio, and his beloved Asuna that he doesn't know is in the Underworld. Next up, the light cube cluster bleeding out. The very clear, obvious metaphor is how many lives from the Dark Territory and Human Empire are being killed off via this Wrath experiment, just draining the world and souls for some military usage. Then that red spot on the ground, it just screams the Japanese flag. Of course, Wrath being funded by Japan. My quick interpretation of this mixing of red, black, and this more clear substance, it feels like whatever comes out of this AI experiment will neither be inherently good or bad. There's equal possibilities for either option. Then, colorless Kirito sinking deeper into the water. This type of scene is all too common for a character going into the water, usually depicting a character turning evil, getting depressed, slowly dying, or in general being lost. You saw this for Yujio in the previous SAO opening. Next up, overlaid on Kirito's face, you got a bunch of red knights, a fellow with a gun, something that shouldn't be in the Underworld. Notice the lab coat. You also have Laughing Coffin here, Visago up in front. This guy is so persistent. And don't forget about Gabriel, specifically his avatar from GGO. Looks like this guy is hungry for more souls. You even have Yujio making a cameo. Best Blonde Boy is holding up a light cube. You might assume that's his own cube, but that should be lights out. Naturally, Yujio will play some role in Kirito's recovery. Alright, so the Black Swordsman Kirito. Back in SAO, Kirito had to endure so much as his Black Swordsman. Years later, the scars still remain. But as he discovered in Season 2, he has to take the burden and continue advancing forward. I'm only a bit surprised to see Kirito back with a smile. Perhaps all of this was a learning experience. Next up, the goddess is kicking some tail, Lifa getting some time to shine. Then for Goddess Shinan, another kick-ass display. I was thinking it was a repeat of her grand entrance, but you can see the ruins to the side. Getting to Goddess Asuna versus Visago. The dude right here is even damaging her armor. I really wasn't going to mention Visago being in Laughing Coffin, but you could clearly see the PK guild symbol on his glove. Now you know why he's so interested in Asuna and Kirito. Then for Alice and Asuna, both of them are awfully close. They really have a front row seat to the action. That's right, Dual Blade Kirito officially returns, at least in the opening. Now upgraded with the Night Sky Blade and the Blue Rose Sword. The Blue Blade now fully restored too. And then for the big moment, Kirito versus the Shadow Angel monster. They're really not waiting, they're giving away this new enemy in the opening. Time to dual blade that mofo. The question is, was Kirito using Starburst Stream? That would surely be any SAO fan's first guess. I actually tried to count the hits, which was super difficult given the animation and the angles. It looked like maybe 17, but Kirito was still ongoing. It could possibly be the Eclipse Stillblade skill instead. All of this leading up to the SAO Alicization Awakening sign. Awakening being the title for SAO Light Novel 17. I'm predicting it now, this will change in the later half. They may even include some updated animation. Finally, Doughblade Kirito, Alice, and Goddess Asuna at the Shiny Gates. Seriously, Kirito and Asuna need to go on a long vacation post season 3. Maybe go on another camping trip. Go take Asuna to an onsen. Then some fun. You see the OG nerve gear at Kirito's place. On the display you could actually make out 4 swords. Those belonging to Alice, Yujiro, Kirito, and even Asuna. This spot looks like it could be the altar on top of the previous floating platform. So go ahead and let me know your favorite scene from the opening. The quick spoiler section is up ahead. If you are jumping off, share what you liked, or just say hi. Anyway, spoiler section time up to the end of SAO Alicization. For the first opening scene, you do see Kirito in class. This should actually be the last few pages of SAO Light Novel 17. Really what's going on in Kirito's head/mind. As always, really hoping they capture this right. This will lead into Kirito's internal mind struggles for the next light novel, 18. I do think the anime could really take this opportunity to expand on it. As for the guy with the gun, this should be the trader back in the Ocean Turtle in real life. You know, the one that was helping out Quinella. Then for the Yujiro water scene, this is really representing the last little bit, the last little push they needed to awaken Kirito. And now I could actually talk about it. Kirito versus not a new enemy, but Gabriel. That's right, this guy is not even in his final form, at least for the latest episode. For this type of thing, I always wondered how it would be represented in the anime. At least animation wise, this seems to be a really good indication. That said, screw the animation, just please capture the character moment right. So hopefully you enjoyed this in-depth breakdown. More SAO videos coming weekly. Really quickly, thank you to Bookwalker. You're watching this, so I know you love SAO. Why not pick out any of the SAO light novel, manga, or any other book? You could catch up with SAO light novel 17 and 18, or if you love Kirito and Asuna, I definitely suggest SAO Progressive. Just use my code Foxen to get $5 off. You can use this awesome discount for any book. The link is down below. But anyway, bonus question for hardcore fans. Which upcoming scene are you most hyped for? The one that the anime studio can't screw up. Go ahead and subscribe and definitely watch my episode review if you haven't. Find out what's going on with Rem in ReZero, and I'll see you guys later.